All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to pregame. Going to get going here in just a couple of minutes. I will bring on the great Scott Christopherson to help break down Iowa State and Texas Tech. Put your questions in here. If you have comments, put it in the comments page, and we will do our best to get to them here in about a 10, 15-minute pregame show. So you can see I'm at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Scott is at home being a great dad. Real quick, let's hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Clinic.
So my life gets crazy with Brooke and Blake and a husband that works 80 hours a week. And I decided to start my own business on top of it, which is insanely crazy. But thanks to the Iowa Clinic, they made it easy to see my doctor. And when I get there, she listens. So I feel like I have a partner. And before you know it, I can get back to my crazy, busy, insanely busy life where I have a busy business, busy husband, and busy twins. Oh no, where's Brooke? There she is. Care how you want it. Visit iowaclinic.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Right now, Oklahoma is going to beat Baylor, it looks like. And I'll bring in Scott Christopherson, who I don't want to brag, but I said on our Sunday night podcast with Bloom, I go, Baylor's the team I want to play. This just has the makings of a flat team that probably could use a good week off before the NCAA tournament. They've been so banged up. And these conference tournaments, man, are wild. And the Bears super flat. Have you got to watch much of this game, Scott? Because
I have not gotten to. No, I've been traveling all day. I've not gotten to watch a second of Big 12 basketball today, but I'm. The boys are down. I'm looking forward to watching this one tonight. I wish I had gotten to see some of these games today, though.
Yeah, the first game was really good between Texas and TCU. The West Virginia-Kansas game, you missed absolutely nothing. TCU, before we get into tonight's game, God, Jamie Dixon's done such a good job there. They used to just be the laugher in the conference, and then Texas just the difference was Texas went like 7 for 7 from 3 in the first half, and then they couldn't make a shot in the second. But TCU just grinds you out and grinds you out and grinds you out. And that's how I look at this matchup with Iowa State and Texas Tech. Here's my analysis on it from I'm just an idiot compared to you, Scott.
That's not true. But
you have similar basketball teams, but their players are bigger, faster, and stronger, which makes I think it's a bad matchup for Iowa State. How do you analyze Iowa State and Texas Tech for round number 3?
I think your synopsis is pretty spot on. I think that they're similarly built teams, and I think they do what they do a little bit better than what we do on a more consistent basis. That doesn't mean, as you're seeing tonight with the Oklahoma Baylor game, that Texas Tech is capable of having a poor performance. And if Iowa State's on their game, I mean, I don't think would be like a crazy upset, but Texas Tech is physical. I think a little bit more physical than we are, particularly in the front court. I think that's where it probably worries me the most about this game. When the second game we played them in the second half, I mean, they just beat us up. And, I know reffing was a topic. They shot like 30-some free throws. But I just worry about if they get into this and this just becomes a rebounding contest, them just being able to out-physical us like they did in the second half against Texas Tech.
What is it like playing in this arena in front of Iowa State's crowd?
It's fun. I never got to experience it to the degree that some of the teams after me did. I never played on a team that won a game there. So, I don't think we really got to feel the full, Hilton South vibe that I know that they've had there when they've gotten into Friday and Saturday nights. But it's a great event. I mean, I think Kansas City is a little bit of an underrated city. There's more going on downtown. The Power and Light District is just got a cool atmosphere. And then, that arena is great, and it's a great event.
Somebody asking about the crowd on YouTube right now. It'll be a heavy Iowa State crowd. There are a lot of Kansas fans here that I bet will be rooting against Iowa State because they kind of lock horns. Those two fan bases do down here. But this will be a home game for Iowa State tonight, which is great. Why, Scott, and I know you and Jared have talked about this, in my opinion, Iowa State can't win tonight unless it hits 10 threes. I'll put it that way. They can't.
Okay. I don't think they need 10. I think they need to make 5 or 6 without shooting like 25.
That's the key. If they shoot 15, then I'm with you.
Yeah. They
Point
definitely, I think that Tyrese has got to control the floor game. And then Caleb and Gabe have got to have a solid night. They don't have to be spectacular. We don't need a 25 or 30 night.
But they can't be 0 for 7.
You can't be 0 for 7. And when good looks against this team are hard to come by. So when you get an opportunity to get out and transition, we got to convert that into points. When you get an open look at the rim from the 3-point line, you got to make enough of those. And I think that's, to me, what can maybe offset the advantage that I think they have in their 4 and 5 position against us in this game. They're super physical. So if you're not making shots to offset that lack of physicality, I think that we have in this game, it'll be really tough to get to like 60 or 65, I think, which is where I think
yeah. It's my deal with this matchup that I just don't like, because it's like, I mean, pound for pound, they're just better across the board. And I feel like Iowa State just needs to, like, if you just try and do what you want to do, I don't think they can win it, is my point. And I think that you don't want to, like, completely, like, lose your identity for one conference tournament game. But I also feel like you're in the tournament, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
let it all hang tonight. You know what I mean?
I think they need to be opportunistic, and when they find those opportunities to try to get easy shots, they need to take them. They need to run their half-court stuff. My biggest thing that I would say is there's going to be a lot of possessions that come down to the last 7 or 8 seconds of the possession because of how well they guarded. And if you're not turning the ball over, that's going to happen. I would like to see them be a little bit better prepared for get the ball to Isaiah at different spots on the court and just let him go play one-on-one. To me, I would rather live with those sorts of possessions. It's kind of like punting in football and playing the field position game. I want Isaiah to get the majority of those looks. I don't want it to be, well, whoever's got the ball, you just try to go make a play, because this defense is so good that I just wouldn't feel that comfortable with either him or Tyrese. Those are the two guys I want trying to make the play. I think everybody else gets in spots where they turn the ball over, then they get runouts on us and it gets layups and it can just snowball on you quick. So I hope they have a good plan for like the last 10 seconds of the shot clock in this game.
Officiating's been a hot topic this week. I don't know if you read what John Higgins had to say on the radio about how the Big 12 is just impossible to referee right now because of the physicality within the league. And not so much this week, but I do think that the tournament's either going to be spectacular or a major disappointment for these Big 12 teams. I mean, if you get a bunch of West Coast officials, right, like if Iowa State does next week and you're playing a more finesse style team, like this team, right, we've seen this where these West Virginia teams, like they're either going to make an Elite Eight run because they get the right officials that are going to let them play, and then they just beat the crap out of these other teams because they're not used to it, or it goes massively bad and Brockington has 3 fouls in the first 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see how this, because it looks like with Oklahoma getting this win, the Big 12 might have 7 now, 7 of the 9 in the tournament. What do you think about that?
I think matchups are going to be a really big deal for a lot of the teams in the league because of the style of play that they have. And I think, Iowa State, they're like, Jared and I were talking about this. Like if Iowa State, let's just say the worst case happens tonight, they get beat, right? And they're a 10 seed. And let's just assume they win their first game and they go in and like a 2 seed against Wisconsin, like a Wisconsin could be a feasible 2 seed. I would love that matchup for Iowa State. You've got one great player you've got to take out. They play great team defense. And I think Iowa State could just kind of like out-ugly them in a second round matchup. Then there's other teams like I wouldn't like their chances against Auburn. That's not a matchup I would want to have them see in the second. So that will play a big factor for them. And then I agree. I think this league is really hard to officiate because you don't want to blow your whistle and call 50 or 60 fouls in a game. And a lot of the coaches in the league just kind of dare you to do it. So then the officials are caught where it's like, well, they let it go. Then they try to get control of the game. And everybody's like, what the heck? Why did you pick now to start calling it this way? It's just because of the way they play it. I do think it is very difficult to ref, and I think that'll be a big deal as far as matchups each team in the league gets in the first, second round of the tournament. That'll be a big deal for a lot of teams.
I also think it's a big deal tonight too. I mean, I watched I didn't watch the first game between these two teams. Tech had so many guys out, and it was so early in the season. I didn't see the point. I watched the second one, which was still early in the season. It was like a week and a half later. And in that game, I mean, it was a bare knuckle brawl. And I do wonder, like tonight on the neutral floor, I think that however that goes down is going to be a big impact because, I mean, you'd actually like it to be called tighter tonight for Iowa State's purpose.
Yeah, I thought one of the big factors in the second game was that a lot of our bigs had 3 fouls at halftime in that game. Yeah. And then in the second half, Texas Tech basically came out. You just were like, we're putting our head down. We're getting the ball in the lane, and we're just going to throw it up on the rim and just go get it. And it was kind of a war of attrition for us. So, you think about like Bob Jones and George. If we can get them to halftime and this game is close and they've only got like 1 foul, that would be huge because then you go into the second half with kind of a clean slate and you can really protect the rim. If we get in foul trouble early, especially in our front court, that would be a not good factor for us because we're not deep there to begin with, and they can kind of just come at you in waves and put a lot of pressure and stress on your bigs.
I am going to take Texas Tech to win tonight by 5 to 10. I think it'll be a really good game. Comes down to hitting some junk free throws at the end, and I will take Tech, but a huge opportunity for Iowa State with an Oklahoma team who they really should have gone 2-0 against, but hanging out in the semis, and your path to the championship, if you get past tonight, is much more advantageous.
Yeah, I think that if you're Iowa State, you have an aggressive, confident game plan and just come out and shoot your shot. This is a pressure-free game in a lot of ways. You're going to the tournament. I'm with you. I think Texas Tech is a favorite. I think this is a tough matchup for them, but have a confident game plan, come out and just take your shot because, yeah, I mean, you win tonight and all of a sudden playing on Saturday looks a lot more reasonable. So I just come out and let it fly. I don't want to see them be tentative and passive, and I don't want to see them get off to one of these just crazy slow starts like we've, seen maybe a little too often of late.
Let it fly. I will say this. I went out and had lunch with my mom and dad about noon today, and Iowa State fans were already out getting lubed up. This will be a wild crowd tonight at T-Mobile Center.
Do they serve alcoholic beverages at the stadium? There we go.
Oh, yeah. And then, I mean, Cyclone Nation's been out since like noon at the Power and Light District drinking. So this is going to get crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's all let it fly tonight.
Let it fly, baby. Hey, next year we're getting you down here. We're going to get you.
I would agree.
You're gonna cover it with us. All right. Get those boys a little older. You can bring them down here. I've done that with Scott for years. Couldn't do it this year because of some stuff with my wife's work, but they just hang out at the hotel until I got off work, and bring your boys down here, and next year we'll pop the top and get you down here. All right, buddy.
I'm in.
Great analysis as always. Thank you, brother.
Thanks for having me.
All right, enjoy the game. Scott Christopherson. That's it for pregame. We'll do, no matter what tonight, an instant reaction podcast where you guys can check that out. Might do it live. We'll see. I don't know about that. It's kind of hard after the game when you're scrambling and whatnot. But thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all. Thanks to our sponsor, the Iowa Clinic Men's Center. Enjoy the game.